But if I look at a teacher as somebody that inspires change, I can point to many things in my daily teaching career and in my daily workflow that both Henry and Steve has fundamentally changed. So some example of this is at 2:44, I was recording a podcast. I was for my last post. That's Henry. In Steve's case, I fundamentally changed some of my, when I worked with Steve, I would say that my teaching practices were underdeveloped. And I saw in Steve genius that my assessment practices were not capturing. And so after working with him in Math 1C, I started changing components of my class in order so that when I assessed my students like Steve, who I consider to be very gifted and also independent thinkers, I would be able to capture that intelligence on my test. So one example of this that Steve, I don't know that I've ever said this to you, but you actually helped inspire this. I think I worked with you when I used to give a fraction of the points back on test corrections. Do you remember that? We would.
I don't remember the exact amount, but I do know that you did give points back.
So one thing that Steve helped me realize was that's a stupid policy, because his test corrections were some of the most gorgeous test corrections that I ever seen. And if I were to grade those as an independent document, they should have been an A by far. Like those should have been an A. But what happened is my systems didn't capture that capacity. And so after I worked with him, I actually went through the process of changing so that I no longer use a formula to assign a grade for a test correction. And those are two examples, concrete examples of changes that these guys have inspired in my career. I have tons of other ones. You have already changed my life, Catherine, because you are here today, right? Which means that your presence changes, positively benefits this program. And I have no doubt that I'm going to learn a ton from you, given your experiences and given your knowledge about critical race theory, about writing, about structural changes that are needed in the U.S. education system, and so many other topics that that your lived experience have informed, right? So, thank you. I'm gonna shut up now.